They call it the golden handcuffs. And if you've ever done a stint in the mines, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You fly up to the Pilbara, sweat your ring out for 12 hours a day in 45-degree heat, eating red dust and sleeping in a donga that smells like old socks and despair. Why do we do it? For the paycheck. For the brand new Land Cruiser in the driveway, the jet ski on the trailer, and the 4-bedroom house in the suburbs that you only see 1 week out of every 3. I've been doing FIFO fly in, fly out for 5 years now. 2 weeks on, 1 week off. It's a brutal grind, but my wife, Sarah, and I had a plan. Smash the mortgage, build a nest egg, and retire by 40. It takes a special kind of woman to be a FIFO wife. She runs the show while I'm gone, pays the bills, deals with the tradies, keeps the world spinning. And I trusted her, implicitly. I also trusted my best mate, Simmo. Simmo and I have been mates since we were knee-high to a grasshopper. He's the kind of bloke who'd give you the shirt off his back. Or so I thought. Since I was away so much, Simmo would often pop round to check on Sarah. You know, bro code stuff. Fix a leaky tap, mow the lawn if my back was dodgy, maybe share a cold beer on a Friday night so she didn't feel lonely. I thought I was the luckiest bloke alive. Good money, loyal wife, dependable best mate. But the problem with the golden handcuffs is that while they lock you into the money, they lock you out of your own life. And sometimes, while you're digging for gold in the desert, someone else is digging in your backyard. It was a Tuesday afternoon when the sight alarm started blaring. We were deep in cyclone season up north, and a Category 4 storm was barreling down the coast straight for Port Hedland. Usually, we just batten down the hatches in the dongas and ride it out with a few cartons of beer. But this one was a monster. The site superintendent came over the radio. All non-essential personnel are demobilizing immediately. Get your gear, get on the bus. We're flying you out in 3 hours. I couldn't believe my luck. I wasn't due to fly home until Thursday night. That meant I was getting a full 48 hours of bonus time at home. 2 extra days of freedom. I sat in the terminal at the airstrip, covered in red dust, and pulled out my phone to text Sarah. Hey babe, cyclone sent us packing. Flight lands at 8 p.m. tonight. But then my thumb hovered over the send button. I deleted the message. Why ruin the surprise? She's always complaining that the romance is dead, that we live by a roster and a calendar. Imagine her face when I walk through the front door 2 days early. Maybe I'll pick up some Thai takeaway, a bottle of that expensive Pinot she likes, and we can just possess the house. So I kept my mouth shut. I landed in Perth feeling like a teenager on a first date. I even hit the duty-free shop, grabbed a giant Toblerone and her favorite perfume Gucci Bloom. Cost me an arm and a leg, but she's worth it, right? I hopped into a taxi, grinning like an idiot. The driver asked me, "Heading home to the missus, mate?" "Yeah," I said. "Gonna surprise her." He laughed. "Good on you, son. Nothing beats coming home." If only he knew. If only I knew what was actually waiting for me in that quiet suburban street. It was just past 9 p.m. when the taxi rolled into our quiet cul-de-sac. Most of the neighbours had their lights off, probably watching MasterChef or getting ready for bed. I leaned forward and tapped the driver on the shoulder. "Just pull up here, mate. Quietly. Don't want to wake the street." I paid him in cash, grabbed my bag, and the duty-free bag with the Gucci perfume. I stood there on the pavement for a second, just breathing in the smell of suburbia. Fresh-cut grass, eucalyptus, home. I tiptoed up the driveway, careful not to trip on the sensor light. I wanted to catch Sarah in her pajamas, maybe eating ice cream on the couch. But as I rounded the hedge, I stopped dead. My spot in the driveway wasn't empty. There was a big white dual-cab ute parked right where my Land Cruiser usually sits. At first, my brain didn't register it. I thought maybe Sarah had bought a new car. Or her brother was visiting. But then the sensor light flicked on, bathing the truck in a harsh halogen glow. I knew that truck. I knew every inch of it. 2-inch lift kit, matte black bull bar, IRB spotties. And there, on the back window, the unmistakable sticker, Jet Ski World, Gold Coast. "Simmo," I whispered. It was Simmo's Hilux, my best mate since year 8, my groomsman at the wedding. My stomach did a weird flip. Not anger yet, just confusion. Why was Simmo here on a Tuesday night? Maybe the sink burst, I told myself. Maybe Sarah got scared of the storm warnings and asked him to come over. But the house was dark. No lights in the kitchen, no flicker of the TV in the lounge room. just a single warm lamp glowing from the master bedroom window upstairs. I gripped the duty-free bag tighter. The chocolate bar snapped in my hand. I stood on the doormat for a solid minute. My heart was hammering against my ribs so hard I thought they could hear it upstairs. "Just knock," a voice in my head said. "Knock and see what happens." But I didn't. I slid my key into the lock. It turned with a smooth, silent click. I pushed the door open and stepped into the air-conditioned cool of my own hallway. The house smelled like vanilla candles and floor polish. Sarah's smell. It should have been comforting. Instead, it made me want to throw up. I looked down at the entryway rug, and there it was. The smoking gun. A pair of size 11, steel-capped redback boots, caked in dry mud, the leather scuffed and worn. I'd seen those boots 1,000 times. I'd seen them on job sites, at Barbies, propped up on the esky. They were Simmo's boots. And right next to them, Sarah's beige stilettos, the ones she only wears for date night. They were touching, leaning against each other intimately. Muddy work boots and delicate high heels. I felt a cold sweat break out on my neck. I walked past the kitchen island, moving like a ghost. On the counter sat 2 wine glasses, half empty, lipstick stains on one. And the bottle? It wasn't the cheap clean-skin stuff she usually drinks on a Tuesday. It was a bottle of Penfolds Grange, my Grange, the bottle I bought for our 10th anniversary. The bottle I specifically said, "We saved this for a special occasion." Apparently, screwing my best mate while I'm earning the money to pay for it counts as a special occasion. I put the duty-free bag on the counter. Gently. I didn't yell. I didn't smash the glasses. I just looked up at the ceiling towards the master bedroom. I could hear music, soft, low, and laughter. His laughter. I climbed the stairs one by one. The carpet muffled my work boots. It was the longest walk of my life. The bedroom door was slightly ajar. A sliver of warm light spilled out onto the landing. They didn't even bother to close it. Why would they? I was supposed to be 1,500 kilometers away, sleeping in a donga in the middle of the desert. They thought they were untouchable. I pushed the door open with my fingertips. The air conditioning was humming. The TV was on low volume. And there they were. Sarah was sitting up in bed, wrapped in the sheet, laughing at something on the screen. She looked happy. Happier than she's looked with me in years. And Simmo? My best mate since high school. The bloke I trusted with my life. He wasn't hiding in the wardrobe. He wasn't scrambling for his pants. He was standing at the foot of the bed, holding another glass of my Grange. And he was wearing my white waffle weave bathrobe, the one with my initials on the pocket. He looked comfortable. He looked like he owned the place. Like he was the husband, and I was just the ATM that paid for the roof over their heads. For a second, nobody moved. Then Simmo turned around, saw me standing in the doorway with my bag, and the colour drained from his face faster than a pint on a Friday arvo. The glass slipped from his hand. It hit the carpet with a dull thud, staining the cream wool blood red. Sarah screamed. A short, sharp gasp. She pulled the sheet up to her neck. But I didn't look at her. I looked straight at him. "G'day, Simmo," I said. My voice was dangerously quiet. "Nice robe, mate. Fits you a bit tight across the shoulders, though, don't you reckon?" Simmo started stammering. "Mate, Jack, it's not... Look, let me explain." "Explain?" I stepped into the room. "Explain why you're drinking my $1,000 wine. Explain why your ute is in my spot. Or explain why you're wearing my clothes in my bedroom while I'm out breaking my back to pay for it all." He took a step back. He knew the bro code wasn't just broken. He'd set it on fire and pissed on the ashes. Simmo tried to stutter out an excuse. "Mate, we were lonely. You're always away. It just happened." "It just happened?" I laughed. A cold, dry laugh. "Tripping over a rug happens, Simmo. Opening a $900 bottle of Grange, putting on my robe and sleeping in my bed isn't an accident. It's a routine." I looked at Sarah. She was crying now, the ugly kind of crying. "Jack, please, let's talk about this." "Talk?" I shook my head. "I'm done talking. I'm done paying for this house. I'm done breaking my back in the heat so you two can play house with my money." I turned back to Simmo. He was still standing there, clutching the robe like a shield. "You know what hurts the most, mate?" I asked, stepping closer. "It's not her. Marriages fail. People drift apart. But you? We grew up together. I vouched for you. I let you into my home to protect it, not to raid the fridge and the bedroom." He looked down at his feet. At least he had the decency to look ashamed. "I'm sorry, Jack," he whispered. "Save it," I snapped. "You've got exactly 1 minute to get your gear, give me back my robe, and get the hell out of my house. And if I see your Hilux in this postcode ever again, I'll drive my Land Cruiser right over the top of it." I watched him scramble. It was pathetic. A grown man trying to pull on jeans while hopping on one leg, terrified. He threw my robe on the floor. Sarah didn't move. She just watched him go. And in that moment, seeing how quickly he ran like a coward, I think she realized exactly what kind of man she'd traded me for. He didn't look back. I heard the front door slam and then the squeal of tires peeling out of the driveway. "Some best, mate." I turned back to Sarah. She looked small in that big empty bed. The bed I paid for, the bed she defiled. She opened her mouth to speak, probably to say she was sorry or that it was just a mistake. "Save it," I said, holding up a hand. "You should go stay with your mum tonight. I'll sleep in the guest room until the lawyers sort this mess out." I didn't yell. What's the point? You can't scream trust back into existence. It was gone. Dead. Just like the friendship I had with Simmo. 2 weeks later, I did something that shocked everyone. I quit the mines, handed in my notice. The boys at work called me crazy. "You're giving up $180K a year, Jack? You're mad," they said. Yeah, maybe. But I realized I wasn't earning that money for me. I was earning it for a ghost, for a life that didn't exist. We sold the house. It sold in 3 days. Boom, gone. We split the assets. She got the furniture and the guilt. I got the cash and my freedom. I took my share and bought a Land Cruiser troop carrier. Kitted it out for touring. Solar panels, fridge, a proper bed in the back. Now? I'm writing this from a campsite in Esperance. Just me, the ocean, and a fishing rod. No roster. No alarms at 4 a.m. No wondering whose boots are in my hallway. The golden handcuffs are off, boys. And let me tell you, a cold beer tastes a hell of a lot better when you drink it in peace, knowing exactly who you are. Sometimes you have to lose everything to find out you were carrying too much weight to begin with. Cheers.